to Motivation and Momentum. It's our first podcast here, so we can check a pulse on the heartbeat of Montague County Schools. I am so excited to be sitting here with my good friend, Brian Kiehl. He's the Director of Child Nutrition. And we're going to have a great conversation today talking about how Brian gets the awesome job of feeding all of our kids. So thank you so much, Brian, for being here with us today.
Well, thank you for letting me be a part of it, and I love to talk about food, and so this is going to be an exciting time together.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. Let's start, and can you just tell us, this is a big title here. You are the Director of Child Nutrition. What does that mean?
Well, no one knows what it means, and so it basically means providing the food for our students here in Mon County, whether it's breakfast, lunch, and snacks. So it encompasses all the aspects from starting with finding vendors who will be willing to sell us food and following all the FDA and federal guidelines required to do that, because money's being spent, and so we need to do the proper way. And once we find those vendors, then we order the food, and then the food comes into the schools, and then we have to hire cooks that want to cook the food, and we train those cooks to do it in a way that is exciting and that they're passionate about. And then we serve the food, and hopefully providing food for the students from menus. Menus are the most important. It's one thing to provide healthy food for the students. We have strict federal guidelines we have to follow, from calorie counts each week to sodium. Each meal has to have a protein, has to have grains, and every meal has to have fruits and vegetables and low-fat milk. So that's one thing, providing the students those items, which are very healthy, and we're fortunate that we have the opportunity to do that, but we also want them to eat it. And so the menus is so important, and then once we get past that, it's being in charge of the equipment, that we need to have equipment that can cook the food, and making sure we have the state-of-the-art equipment, we have equipment that works. And so basically every morning I have no idea what I'm getting myself into, and we just make sure the students have the best food possible, and that they're fed each and every day, from breakfast, lunch, and many of the schools now have supper programs.
That's amazing. Start to finish, that sounds like
Yep.
a lot of work,
Right.
but you do it beautifully, friend, and I
Yeah.
appreciate that. What is the biggest reward for you personally in all of those processes that you talked about?
Well, obviously, seeing students eat the food.
Sure.
And when I try to make it into a school at least once a day. We have 18 schools that we provide over 7,500 lunches a day and 5,500 breakfasts a day. And so I want to go in there and make sure that they're actually eating the food. Again, one of my tests that I always say is I go to the custodian and ask them how light the garbage can is today. If it's a light day, then we did good. That means the kids are eating it and they're happy eating it. And so I want to make sure they love the food. I had something happen to be last April, when my wife and I were up at Milan Park for the Morgantown High University High softball game. And we were walking afterwards around Milan because there's too many cars there. And this truck comes by full of students, just full of students. And it stops after they see us, and we're like, what's about to happen here? We weren't sure if we were in a safe situation or not. In Mon County, we probably are. But all of a sudden, one of the kids just took his head out the window and said, "Hey, that's the food guy." and then they just squealed off, and they were all that truck was just rocking because they got to see the food guy. And so that's why I do this. Clearly, those students, they see me out in the schools. They like what they could have said anything, and so that was a very complimentary thing to say, is there's the food guy. And so that made my day, and so that's why I do what I do.
I love that. You will forever be food guy for me.
I'm the food
All
guy.
right.
Yep.
All right, food guy. Let's talk about what programs and initiatives are currently in Montague County Schools that you're excited to share with us.
Well, again, we provide free breakfasts, free lunches, and like I said, most after-school programs, free supper programs. That's exciting.
Very.
we have an opportunity through different governmental programs now that we offer to every student who wants to eat free meals. And so there's nothing more exciting than that. And so our goal is, instead of having 7,500 lunches a day, we want every kid eating that free lunch. And so that excites me that we have that opportunity to do that. And so we want to provide, again, it's one thing to provide free meals, we need them to eat the free meals.
Sure.
And so we want to provide healthy meals, but in ways that are exciting for them to eat. And so most of our middle schools and high schools offer a food court format.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I grew up, you just went into the cafeteria and you just had one option, and that's what you got. And we are blessed to be able to, most of our middle schools and high schools, to offer a food court format, and so they can come in and they can choose from the pizza food court, or the chicken food court, and so on. And so they have the options that they get what they want to eat. If a student gets what they want to eat, they're going to be more likely willing to eat it. And
Sure.
so that's our goal, to do that. And then provide the facility in a way that they want to go into the cafeteria. At some of the schools, the food courts at like South Middle School, it's at different levels. So there's the chicken bar may be over there, the pizza line, and so we have provided a fun, exciting place for them that they want to go to. And so that's our goal, is to also, we're competing with fast food, we're competing with Sheetz in our area, and other gas stations that have wonderful options where they can go up to the computer and order, and so we have to recognize that. And so it's not like we want to provide and we're not providing unhealthy food that some people equate to gas stations. We're providing in the way that our society wants to receive their food. And so by being able to do it that way, our fruits and vegetables we provide in the same type of equipment that you would see at a gas station, where they can reach in and grab it, in a packaging that's exciting for them to see, and so that's what we're doing. And so we're constantly also renovating our facilities, because like our most recent, we try to get to at least one every summer.
Sure.
Our most recent is Mountaineer Middle. If you were to go into,
and it's beautiful, by the way.
Well,
it's
thank you.
absolutely beautiful.
Well, thank you. But our goal with that is that, take away the cafeteria tables in a straight line, that kids feel like that maybe they're just, I've never been in prison, and hopefully I'm never there, but the stereotype is, the straight lines, you just go through one line, the food's slopped on your tray. We want to take that away, and so we want the environment of the whole experience to be exciting. And so by putting in countertops all throughout with high top chairs, they feel like they're actually eating in maybe a Panera or a Starbucks than a middle school cafeteria. And so that's our goal, is that they want to go into the cafeteria, and then when they want to go in there, they're going to want to eat the food. And so simply by changing the aesthetics of that one location, our participation, we have more kids eating lunch. The food's not any different than it was last May, but their environment is different.
I love that. So you're seeing more people eat lunch at Mountaineer Middle than last year, just based on the design and what you've put into it.
There's a 10% increase, and there's no changes at all.
I love it.
And so we have to, again, recognize that environment and make it exciting to do. I don't know if you want to talk about Morgantown High now.
Would love to. Very excited about
know,
Morgantown High.
We're excited about the opportunity. Morgantown High is a wonderful facility, and the history of that school is amazing. But one of the challenges is there's dated equipment and the area designed for the students to get the food was only designed for 500 kids. Well, we're serving over 1,000 students at lunch every day and over 500 for breakfast.
Wow.
And so it's not an environment that's appealing for them. I had a student that went to Morgantown High, and he hated lunch because it was a hard to get in, hard to get out, hard to get the food that you wanted. And so we are blessed with an opportunity this summer to change that. And so we're, again, providing an environment for them. The cooks are going to have equipment that will provide them an opportunity to cook the food in a better way. And we're going to have it designed in a way that they're going to want to go in there and be able to get the food that they want. One of the options that I'm excited about is providing, like there is at Sheetz or McDonald's, mobile ordering. And so they're going to be able to get on their phones or get on their Chromebooks and order their meal the way they want it. A hamburger without cheese, a hamburger with cheese, a hamburger with mustard, ketchup, the vegetables that they want, and they'll be able to pick that up already for them. So that'll help us take students away from, there's so many students at Morgantown High. Even if we are able to, and when we're able to, change the whole layout of the cafeteria, you're still putting way too many kids in one place. So by being able to provide these mobile options, one will be able to, the experience for the students is going to be much more appealing, but they're going to get the food exactly the way they want it. And so we'll be providing salads that they can, just like a Subway or a Salad Works, be able to put the type of lettuce they want, from romaine to spring mix to the type of toppings they wanted, to chicken to steak, to and get exactly what they want. And so they're going to be, and when students see that, we're hoping that all 1,800 students at Morgantown eat.
I foresee your numbers going very high, very high.
So that's exciting to be able to do that.
Awesome.
Yep.
So let's change gears and talk about, the world of dietary needs, allergies, special needs. How do you accommodate for all of those?
Well, luckily we have a process.
Okay.
And it's a simple process, and it starts with the parents, the guardians, and their physician. And when the physician diagnoses a dietary issue, then they provide the paperwork for that. And then that paperwork goes from the parent to the school nurse to the cook, and then the cook to me if we don't have what they need. And so in the years that I've been doing this, from when I started, we would maybe have 5 or 10 at each school that has a special dietary need. Now we literally have 100 or more at each school.
Oh wow!
From glutens to lactose, and so so our role is to simply, whatever the physician requires, we, in 99% of the time, we're able to provide that needs. And so, and it just takes, once that process is in place, the schools have their own system. Oftentimes you'll go into elementary school and you'll see pictures of students behind. Just recognize that student needs this, and they're so diligent. We're blessed to have cooks that want to provide a wonderful meal for their students, but also a safe meal for their students.
Right, awesome. So are there any partnerships with local farms or businesses that we use to source out local ingredients? Do you do that?
Yes. So West Virginia has a program that requires, actually, every school system to purchase 5% of their budget on local West Virginia products. And so 2 years ago, we put out to bid local apples.
Okay.
And so every apple and every apple slice in Mon County is a West Virginia apple.
That's amazing.
Yep. And so, and when we're able to get pears and peaches, we're able to provide that. I'm recently working on an initiative with a local bakery, which they would provide the dough for us to make our homemade pepperoni rolls and our homemade pizza. You know, things have changed. Maybe when you were at school, you remember the homemade pizza that, you know, and so we want to be able to still provide that homemade options. But the reality is, with staffing and
Sure.
training, we'll get staffing that maybe has never cooked before, but they're an incredible employee. And so we want to provide ways where we still are able to hire staffing, but also have the home-cooked meals. And so I've been working with a local bakery that would, using our local products, using local staff, and they would provide us the dough that we would receive it, and then we would let it rise, just like Panera and all the other places, you know, and you would let it rise. And so yeah, we're constantly working on providing and using West Virginia products, and it's just one of the struggles with is I will get calls from local farmers all the time and say, we have some corn we would like to sell you. I said, we love it, you know. And they said, can we bring the pail over to you? And I said, that'd be great, but I need 7,500 ears of corn. And they'll be, what? You know, and so it's understanding the volume. You know, when you add up 7,500 times 180 days, we're doing millions of meals a year. And so so we want to work with local farmers, but that is one of they can oftentimes can't provide the volume that we need.
I can't even fathom the volume that you need. So
yeah. It's amazing the amount of food that we're bringing through our schools and providing, again, free to our students. And so it's exciting to be able to do that. Yeah.
Well, speaking of the volume and speaking of the aspect of this being free for all students, how do you get students to choose those healthier meal options? I know something you're doing at UHS, which as a parent, I absolutely loved. Can you talk a little bit about your a la carte and how you're really encouraging students to make those healthy choices?
Right. As one of the challenges that we have is we can provide a healthy meal, but if the student doesn't eat it, it doesn't. So as we already talked about, providing an atmosphere where students want to come, providing the way they come and they are served the meals. We want to do it in a way that's appealing to them, that they don't have to wait in line. But we're also mindful that we're in a culture that it's much easier to get unhealthier food than it is to get healthier food. And so we're working on at University High, which is out in the middle of nowhere, and so, but they have a gas station right next to them, and so we recognized that students will oftentimes stop at the gas station. Most high school students, many high school students drive, and so they will go to the gas station at the beginning of the day, and they will get the energy drinks and the Mountain Dews and the potato chips and so on. And so we're competing with that, recognizing that that is our competition. And so we are at University High, the only school in the state of West Virginia, doing a pilot program. We're in year 2, where our students can, after they get their free meal, they still get their free meal, but if they're still hungry, and we recognize that we have athletes, when I go into the University High, I just feel like, you know, I'm amongst giants, you know, and that's a high school student. And, you know, and so with our athletes, recognizing that, you know, they're still hungry. You know, we're required to give them a meal that meets the federal guidelines and calories. I would love to eat 3 pieces of pizza. I'm sure you would too.
Absolutely.
And so, but we can't do that. We
Right.
can't put 3 pieces of pizza on trays. So, but providing healthier options if a student, like an athlete, is still hungry, or a student that brings a cold lunch. That's,
Mm-hmm.
are you hot lunch or cold lunch? And hot lunch means they're coming through our line. Cold lunch means they're bringing it from home. And sometimes the cold lunch is not a very healthy option. And so we wanted to provide options for those students that they can get additional. So this pilot program provides, we call it a la carte, and it's not free. Now, some would say, well, I thought we're providing free meals. Well, we are providing free meals. But we're limited on what we can provide at the free meals. A student can take all they can eat at every level, elementary, middle school, high school. All they can eat fruits and vegetables. But you don't have a lot of students taking us up on that opportunity. And so we recognize that. So by providing this a la carte we have 2 price points, $1 or $2. Okay? And so at $1, they can get 100% fruit drinks. Snapple.
Oh, wow.
Snapple drink for $1. We're not making a profit on it, but by this pilot program, we can provide 100% fruit drinks, and that is a lot cheaper than you can get a Mountain Dew.
Absolutely.
Okay, and so when we first went through, and it wasn't just University High, but probably any high school in our state, we saw the cafeteria was full of the Mountain Dews and the energy drinks and the potato chips and unhealthy food items. And so by providing this program, we can compete with that and say, it's only $1 to get a Snapple drink.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you buy this instead of your $3 Mountain Dew or your Red Bull? And so, and we're providing low-fat dairy items, and that they can get whole grain. So everything that we serve in the school, even our snacks, is a whole grain. Okay, and so we provide a whole grain chocolate chip cookie.
Mm-hmm.
Much lower in calories and with the whole grains for $1. And so we're providing, I mentioned the chips, right? Mm-hmm. Well, we do provide Doritos, but we provide low fat, reduced sodium. You didn't even know that existed, I'm guessing.
No, I didn't.
And so there's different products that are available to school systems that we can provide that to them. And so instead of them buying that at the grocery store, we're providing a much healthier option.
Right there on campus.
Right there on campus. An extra piece of pizza for $2. You can't get a piece of pizza out there for $5. And so, we work with the students. I have opportunities to survey the students and talk with the students. We work with our cooks, because I was a cook 15 years ago, but it's been, and I still love to cook, and I do a lot of the, you were a benefit of one, working with our new products. I work in our kitchen here. We have a wonderful kitchen here at the board office where I can work with the products, and before it goes out into the schools, I know it's a product that we want in there.
And we get to taste it.
And you get to taste it, yes.
Yes.
And so, but I then involve our cooks. I keep stats. How many ate? Today I looked before I came in here. We had 7,400 kids eat our pepperoni rolls. That's good. 2 weeks ago we had the 7,500 kids eat our chicken and waffles. That was the most. That was the highest, at least in the 15 years I've been here. We have never had 7,500 students eat a lunch.
Wow.
And so by chicken and waffle, that sounds unhealthy, right? Well, it's a whole grain chicken drumming. It looks just like a chicken drumming you would get at KFC, but it's the breading is whole grain. Okay, it is a whole meat, so the whole chicken. So it's not the processed chicken that's put in together. It's with all the different chemicals that have to go in that. And,
Okay.
the waffle is a whole grain waffle, and so even from our syrups to our ketchups to everything, our ketchups are low sodium ketchups. Everything that we do are from our fruits. They come in the low sugar syrups and so on. Everything that we provide is at a much healthier level. Um, so we're blessed to be able to do that, but I will communicate with our cooks, and we have times when they come together and say, okay, what can we do better? What do you see that a student, why aren't they eating?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't recognize that, And so, in the chicken and waffles is a perfect example. We took away the syrup because a normal syrup cup has almost 200 calories.
Oh, wow.
And so we took away the syrup, and our chicken and waffle days last year the participation dropped drastically. And so I said, why? Why is that happening?
Mm-hmm.
I want kids to eat. And so they said, it's because you took the syrup away. So then we tested a low sugar, still just low sugar, and West Virginia, some would say, well, then you're providing the fake sugars, Well, in West Virginia, where we can't use any, what they say, fake sugars,
Okay.
And so, but we found another product that was smaller, and just simply by providing that 1 cup of sugar in a different format, our numbers are through the roof, and
Wow.
so we just being mindful of the things that kids think about. Our cooks see that all the time. And with our students, talking with them directly. And so when we started the a la carte program, after a few months, we were like, what do you think about this? And they said, we want a Chick-fil-A sandwich. I said, well, we can't have it.
Can't blame them.
Yeah, can't blame them. We can't sell Chick-fil-A in the school. But what if we sold you a Chick-fil-A sandwich?
Chick-fil-A.
Yes, yeah. Hopefully we don't get in trouble for the naming of
Branding
that,
here.
for the branding here. But I was able to find, I did research, tested it here, and found that I didn't know that the Chick-fil-A sandwich has a dill flavor.
Great, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did research and found a whole grain breading that has a dill flavor to it. We put it between a bun with 2 pickles and gave it to the students, and
Did they love it?
They loved it. They loved it.
Awesome.
And we're selling it for $2 instead of $4.50 that you would. And so, again, being mindful of we want students to eat. And so this a la carte program, again, the students, and we're closely monitored by the state, but the students are eating this, but we're pricing it in a way that we're not making money on it. But now, if you were to walk through University High, you won't see more than 1 or 2 Mountain Dews.
Wow.
It's all Snapple, 100% fruit drinks. You'll see the healthier items, and so we're making that facility a much healthier place.
So by listening to the students and
Mhm.
listening to the staff,
Mhm.
you are providing a healthier experience for our kids that they are actually choosing.
Yeah,
You're making that impact.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
yeah.
So what motivated you to pursue a career in child nutrition?
Well, I was one of the students that growing up in the early 70s that I loved going to school. I
Mhm.
mean, it was a safe place for me.
Mhm.
Like my home wasn't maybe the safest place, and it also, we had low income, and so we benefited from the free meals. And so I loved going to school, and I loved eating lunch. I'm so old, we didn't have free breakfast when I grew up. It was just free lunch.
Okay.
So free breakfast came in more of the late 90s, early 2000s. And so I loved going to lunch. And those cafeteria at this time was all ladies. They knew my name,
Mhm.
and they knew more about me, and they loved me. And sometimes they would slide in, maybe a little larger piece of pizza my way or something. And so I recognized that, and recognized that these cafeteria ladies were making a huge impact on students' lives. And so I went to school to be a teacher, and recognized that maybe I liked food. I told you I love food.
You're well versed in it.
I love food. It's my passion. Wherever I go, I'm eating the food. Wherever I travel in this country and had an opportunity, our lifelong dream was to go to Germany. And so you got to see my lederhosen.
Yes.
I don't know if that
World
was a positive
traveler.
experience or not. Maybe a one-time experience, but it was the food. And so. We are all struggling, some maybe more than others, but it seems like food, when a child or an adult gets something to eat that they like to eat, it can bring them hope. That maybe sounds silly, but you can find hope in that. Those cafeteria ladies gave me hope, and I recognized that. And so after a few years of teaching, I recognized that maybe I can make a bigger impact with school food. And so it was a long journey, but here I am. And so I'm lucky to be able to do that.
And last week you fed 7,582 children. I mean, talk about impact.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day
That's
we
right.
do that.
Every day. That's right.
Yeah.
You're making the impact.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, since it is November and we're talking about food, and food does unite us, I thought we would play a quick game of Thanksgiving this or that, so that we can really get to know the Brian Kiehl that is the food guy.
Okay.
All right, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. All right, ham or turkey?
Turkey, easy.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, I love cooking. So I do all of our cooking at home.
Okay.
And I love turkey. I love the challenge of making a turkey that is moist and delicious and so on. And to me, ham's boring. I think.
Interesting.
Turkey, easy. Easy turkey.
Pie or cobbler?
Oh, cobbler.
Oh, you hesitated.
Yeah. I don't like certain flavors. Like, I'm not a big fan of the pumpkin or the pecans. So if it's an apple pie or apple cobbler, but I usually lean towards an apple cobbler.
Nice. Good to know. Stuffing or dressing?
Oh, stuffing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Mashed potatoes or sweet potatoes?
Mashed potatoes.
Nice. Good answer.
Yeah.
Parade or football?
Parade. Oh my goodness. So my in-laws lived outside of New York City, so they has since moved to Morgantown. But for about 10 years of my life with my kids being married, we would go to Thanksgiving. Anyways, we went to the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. My kids, when they were young, for at least 10 years in a row. We would get up at 4 or 5 in the morning and take the train into New York City, and definitely the parade.
It's like once in a lifetime experience.
And so now, at 9 o'clock on Thanksgiving Day, don't bother me.
Noted.
I'm watching the parade.
Okay.
And recording the parade, and so we can go back and
I love that.
Yeah, so definitely the parade.
The parade. All right, cornbread or rolls?
Rolls.
Okay.
Yep.
Apple cider or hot chocolate?
Hot chocolate.
All right. Yeah. Pumpkin pie or apple pie? I think we already hit that
apple
one.
Pie. Yep.
Host or guest?
Host.
Host.
Yes.
All right, this one could get you in trouble. Family or friends?
I'd say family.
All right.
Yeah.
And what about nap or play outside?
Nap.
After all that hard work in the kitchen, right?
Yeah, I love a good nap. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Brian, this conversation has been amazing. We can't thank you enough for what you do for all of our Montague County students. Your impact is far-reaching, and you are creating multiple people who want to go into child nutrition for what you do. So we thank you so much.
Well, I'm blessed with the opportunity to do it.
That's awesome. Thank you. Well, thank you for tuning in to our first episode of Motivation and Momentum, and we are just so excited to continue talking about the heartbeat of Montague County Schools.